Russian Polar Owl Prison is a place so terrifying that even the most notorious serial killers there would rather beg for death than endure its harsh conditions. Officially named Penal Colony No. 18, this prison is located in the remote Kharp region of Russia, about 2,000 kilometers away from Moscow. Prisoners are transported by train over 2 days from Moscow to a nearby station, and then by bus through the icy wilderness. Upon arrival, inmates find themselves in an entirely different world, a world far removed from what we know as normal. What makes this prison especially horrifying is its extreme weather. Built in a region where temperatures drop as low as -50 degrees Celsius, the cold is so severe that even polar bears cannot survive here. The primary method of punishment in this prison involves a water cannon used in the freezing cold. This facility houses some of the country's most dangerous criminals, including serial killers responsible for multiple murders, some with more than 10 victims. Among them, the most notorious is Alexander Pushkin, who is believed to have killed a staggering 61 people. His story began in 1992, when at just 18 years old, he committed his first murder, targeting a homeless man. From then on, murder became an obsession for him. Whenever he saw a homeless person on the streets, he would strike up a conversation, win their trust, and offer them food. Once he had gained their confidence, he would lure them to an isolated forest and end their life. His method was particularly brutal, first striking the victim from behind with a hammer, then drilling their skull with a steel rod, and finally discarding the body in a sewer. When Pushkin was interviewed in prison and asked why he committed these crimes, his response was chilling. He admitted to feeling immense satisfaction from taking lives. For him, it was like playing a game. After every murder, he would mark a square on a chessboard. With 64 squares in total, Pushkin had marked 61 of them, representing his victims. His goal was to fill the entire board. In his attempt to do so, he eventually murdered a woman named Maria, leading to his arrest in 2006 based on key evidence. In 2007, he was sentenced to life in solitary confinement. However, after experiencing the unbearable conditions of this prison, even someone as cold-blooded as Pushkin admitted that death seemed preferable to life there. Now imagine if a top-level, ruthless serial killer finds this place unbearable. How horrifying must this prison be? Beyond the tortures of standing outside in thin clothes in -50-degree weather, the prison is infamous for its mental torture as well. Inmates are often locked inside double cells, intensifying the harsh isolation. Inside this prison, although there are beds in each cell, inmates are not allowed to sit or lie down on them until the lights are switched off at 10 p.m. To intensify the mental pressure, prisoners are forbidden from communicating with one another. Unlike other prisons, which often have cafeterias, joint exercise sessions, or group activities, this facility, despite housing 400 inmates, offers no such opportunity for social interaction. Each prisoner is kept in a separate cell, where they can neither see nor properly speak to others. To provide minimal relief, the authorities allow inmates to walk for about an hour to an hour and a half daily. However, this walk is far from pleasant. Prisoners are moved to a confined area, where the only difference is that instead of a concrete ceiling, there are iron bars overhead. This allows the inmates a brief glimpse of the open sky, while guards constantly patrol from above, keeping a close watch. After this short period, the prisoners are brought back to the same strict routine, continuing to endure both physical and mental torture. There is no entertainment, no change in daily meals, and to prevent complete mental breakdown, a single movie is shown to the inmates once a week. Escape from this prison is considered impossible. The facility is secured by 3 layers of iron doors, making it even more restrictive than the enclosures used to confine animals, where a single iron fence is usually enough. In addition, 20 specially trained Caucasian Shepherd dogs stand ready at all times, prepared to attack upon command. In 2011, an inmate named Alexei Andar attempted to escape during a daily walk. As he tried to cross the iron fence, the dogs immediately attacked him. Fortunately for him, guards arrived just in time to stop the assault. As punishment, Alexei was sent to solitary confinement. There, the physical torture was so intense that within just a month, he lost his life. Since then, no prisoner has dared to escape from Polar Owl Prison. Inmates have simply accepted their fate and adjusted to this life of isolation, knowing that one day, the harsh cold would ultimately claim them. If you believe Polar Owl Prison is the most terrifying facility on Earth, prepare yourself for something even more shocking. The next prison I will tell you about can easily be considered the world's most horrifying. This facility holds not just criminals and terrorists, but also serial killers and child murderers, known as Black Dolphin Prison. It's located near the border of Kazakhstan in Russia. This prison houses around 700 inmates, collectively responsible for over 3,500 murders, averaging 5 murders per prisoner. One of the most notorious inmates here is Vladimir Nikolaev. In 1990, while returning home intoxicated from a party, Vladimir got into a heated argument with a friend and killed him with a sharp weapon. What followed was even more horrifying. He cut up parts of his friend's body, fried them, and consumed them. Shocked by the unusual taste, a disturbing idea crossed his mind. He skinned the body, cut the flesh and bones into pieces, and told his neighbor that it was kangaroo meat. Unaware of the truth, the poor neighbor unknowingly ate human flesh, believing it to be kangaroo meat. Since kangaroos aren't native to Russia, the neighbors couldn't tell the difference when Vladimir Nikolaev offered them the cooked human flesh, claiming it was kangaroo meat. When evidence of Nikolaev's horrific crime was discovered, it sent shockwaves across Russia. People were outraged and demanded the death penalty. However, Russia abolished capital punishment in the 1990s, so the court sentenced Nikolaev to life imprisonment. While some protested this decision, public anger eased when they learned he would be sent to the infamous Black Dolphin Prison, a place considered even worse than death. At the entrance of this prison stands a statue of a dolphin, but prisoners never get to see it. They are brought in blindfolded and confined to a tiny 50-square-foot cell. Each cell has 3 layers of iron doors, essentially a prison within a prison. The rules here are even stricter than those at Polar Owl Prison. Inmates must wake up at 6 a.m. and remain standing inside their cells until 10 p.m. Every movement is monitored by guards and surveillance cameras 24 hours a day, supported by motion detectors and bright lights. Guards patrol in front of the cells every 15 minutes, leaving prisoners with no real chance to relax. If a prisoner is taken out for a walk or to another cell, they must bend forward at the waist, facing the wall. They are handcuffed, kept bent over, and escorted by 2 senior guards, accompanied by police dogs. To prevent them from memorizing the prison layout or planning an escape, a black cloth is tied over their eyes whenever they move. Here, the inmates endure more psychological torment than physical. In most prisons, food is passed through a small window, but at Black Dolphin, meals are placed on a shovel and handed directly to the prisoner. Unlike other prisons where good behavior might earn early release after 20 to 25 years, in Black Dolphin, no one leaves alive. Prisoners remain until death. For example, one of the inmates here was 20 years old when he murdered his parents and brother by setting them on fire. Today, he's 52 and still serving his sentence in the same prison. Unable to cope with the relentless mental torture, some prisoners lose their sanity, while others attempt suicide. To prevent this, inmates are allowed a short 1-hour walk daily, not under open skies, but in a slightly larger caged enclosure where they can only pace back and forth like animals. For entertainment, prisoners are occasionally allowed to listen to the radio or read newspapers, but watching movies is strictly prohibited. Remarkably, this is the only prison in the world where the number of guards exceeds the number of prisoners, with 900 guards overseeing 700 inmates.